Good evening, and welcome to the October gathering of the Maine Public Book Club. I'm Bill Nemitz, your host, and this evening we welcome Mark Edward Hall, author of the novel The Children in the Lake. I must say my head is still spinning from this novel, which I just finished yesterday. It packs a lot into what was a remarkably quick read. Action, romance, the supernatural, and millennial-old legends propel this story at the pace that made the pages fly by until at last I reached the happy ending of a tale steeped in danger and greed on the one hand, and love for the land and its long history on the other. I'm looking forward to diving into all that with Mark, who joins us this evening from his winter digs in Florida. But first, as always, a few thanks are in order. Our heartfelt thanks to Sherman's Maine Coast Bookshops, the Park Danforth, and Coffee by Design for their generous support of the book club. Without their support, these gatherings wouldn't be possible. Thanks also to our bookstore partners, where many of you picked up your copy of The Children in the Lake. They include None Such Books and More in South Portland, Mockingbird Bookshop in Bath, Sherman's Maine Coast Bookshops, DDG Booksellers in Farmington, Left Bank Books in Belfast, The Book Tenders in York, Fiction in Wiscasset, Oliver and Friends Bookshop in Waterville, and Print in Portland. Now, a number of you, as always, have submitted questions for Mark, and thank you for that. If you have any questions you'd like to be addressed during our chat, send them over to us at fun@mainepublic.org, and I'll try to include those as well. So let's get started. Mark, welcome.
Thank you, Bill.
It's a pleasure to have you here. I want to start just by letting our audience know a little bit more about you. How your background, your biography, as it were, and how you came to be an author.
I've got a long background. I've been around a while. I don't know. I've always wanted to write fiction, but I didn't really start until I was in my 30s. I'm an old guy now. But I always had a real keen interest. I'm a voracious reader. And in my 30s, I started writing The Lost Village, my first novel, which turned out to be a monstrous novel, 256,000 words.
Oh my goodness!
And that was that was the beginnings. And from there, boy, they just came out of me. So anyway, that's kind of my writing background.
What had you done previous to that?
Oh, I worked in the aerospace industry. I had a lot of things. I did a lot of things.
Well, that's good to have for a novelist, a diversity of past history.
I was a hunting and fishing guide for a while in Maine.
Really? Here in Maine?
Pardon me? Yeah, I grew up in Maine. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Where did you grow up?
Bowdenham.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Central Maine.
Well, Meeting Bay.
Central Maine.
So I did that when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, and then got drafted into the Vietnam War. And from there, I'm a musician as well. I formed my first rock band when I was 16 years old. And still playing music somewhat.
You're still? Oh, great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, my band, The Maniacs, we have a gig.
Oh, yes, I've heard of them.
East Bay Harbor every summer. I wasn't able to join them full time this year, but about half the time.
Maybe there's a novel in that sometime, huh?
Oh, there probably will be. Yeah. So
now you've written a ton of books.
I got a lot of books.
Yeah, I was amazed at the list at the beginning, and as I got into this one, I thought, this book has a lot of different threads. It has the indigenous American history, modern day living in the Maine woods, and the thrills and chills of the supernatural. And I found myself struggling to describe what genre this book is, because it's a lot of things. And I was curious as to how you might, I don't know, classify it or what you might call this.
Well, most of my books I call supernatural thrillers. That's how I classify them, because they all have supernatural elements. Growing up, my grandmother was a storyteller, and she told ghost stories. She lived with us, and she loved ghost stories, and she made a bunch up, and she told a lot of stories that she swears were true. But anyway, yeah, that was my introduction, and of course, I'm a big reader of that kind of stuff. So
Where does this stuff come from? I'm trying because I marvel at novelists to begin with, having been a newspaper journalist my whole career
right,
and dealing with just the facts and what's happening. And I'm always in awe of people's ability to just to spin something out of nothing, really. And when you layer on the supernatural there, I find it even more daunting. Is this the kind of stuff that you lie awake at night staring at the ceiling and it comes to you, or like the idea of three kids, flitting around under 1,000-foot lake? Where does this stuff come from?
it, the genesis is usually just an idea, and it's not a thing where I lay awake at night thinking about it. I'll sit down at the computer and start laying my ideas down, and they kind of just the stories kind of write themselves. I know that sounds silly, but they do. They as I go, they just come out of me. They flow out, and they're there.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
And it takes me a while. It's not a quick thing. Some novellas and novels I finish in as little as 6 months. Some take longer. Some take several years. So anyway,
How long did this one take?
not long.
Mhm.
This was a quick one.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
we
It,
spend all our time in Millinocket Lake, that area. My daughter has a place up there, and I just got the idea that it'd be interesting if there were uh, more than fish out there. If there were, you know, that's how this began. If there are actually people out there that don't surface it, and
mm,
and my mind started working, and
sure.
it
Well, we
happened.
all have this thing with water. I mean, we've got the Loch Ness monster. We've got
Right,
Champ in Lake
right,
Champlain. Over the centuries, I think there's always been this fascination, especially with deep bodies of water,
right,
where you look out there and you just visualize, what could go on. When we spoke earlier this week, I
right.
told you how we used to go swimming in my grandparents' lake up in northern Wisconsin, and when the little kids would come out to swim, we would half submerge our face in the muskellunge were the big fish,
Yeah,
big
oh yeah, the
ferocious
Muskies. Yep,
fish. And we'd swim around thinking, saying, I'm a muskie, I'm a muskie. And the little kids would fly out of the water and refuse to come back in. And it was horrible. We
right.
instilled this fear of the water into them that we really didn't want to. But what is it about deep water that I guess it ignites the imagination, right?
Exactly. I mean, Jules Verne. There were a lot of writers, that went there. For
Hmm.
me, it's just I've often wondered what lies beneath, besides what we know. And
Hmm. Was Arrowhead Lake based on Millinocket Lake or someplace with which you're
not
familiar, or did you just come
not
up with it?
really, no, just something. It's a lake I made up, um, but it's based on my experiences in that country, in Millinocket, Moosehead Lake, all of those
Mhm.
places. It put them all together, and I made up a lake. And
Yeah. And because
that's
there
pretty
is
simple.
right near down here, we have Lake Arrowhead or Arrowhead Lake, however you refer to it. And but although it doesn't meet that description at all, it's very shallow.
Oh no,
It's a
and
river lake,
there's
basically.
a lake Arrowhead in, I believe, in the west somewhere, California maybe. But anyway,
Mhm. You talked a little bit about your writing routine. I'm curious, especially when you are as productive as you are, uh, do you have a set routine process when you write these? Like, is it I got to start my writing at 9 o'clock in the morning and finish at noon,
yep.
or how does it work? And I'm also curious because you travel between Maine and Florida and how that affects your writing schedule and routine.
It doesn't affect my schedule at all. We used to drive. We bought this house down here 10 years ago or so, but we've been coming to Florida for many years. I worked in for Honeywell. I worked on the space shuttle and a few other projects. So we're pretty familiar with Florida. These days we fly, so it's a pretty fast trip, 3 hours. Um, but it doesn't affect my writing. I have an office here. I have an office in Maine, and I get up. I have coffee with my wife Sheila, um, and around 9 o'clock, I go sit at my desk and write. That's what I do. You know,
How long is a typical workday?
total workday would probably be 5 to 6 hours
Mm-hmm.
because there's other things in life that have to be done,
Sure.
lawns and shopping and
Yeah.
all these
Eating.
other things. But yeah, 5 to 6 hours a day, and I even write on Sundays and holidays.
Yeah. Well,
I just
let's get into this book a little bit now too,
Okay,
because
sure.
there's a lot of questions that we received and ones that I had as well. Uh, I'll just pick one here. Uh, what I noticed, a lot of the background of this book, the visual background of the book is Maine's great woods, and
Right,
obviously the paper companies have long relied on that for to produce their product.
right.
It's often been a fraught relationship between the state and the paper industry, or some people in the state. What's your position on that in terms of the legacy of the paper companies here
You
in
want me?
Maine?
You want me?
How do you feel
Want me to
about
be
that?
political? No.
I'm sorry?
I said, you want me to be political?
No, not really. No, but they're cast in this book
Right.
as not as villainous as the real bad guys, but
Right.
providing cover
Right.
uh, for the real bad guys. So I'm just curious how you feel about what the state of the Maine woods, I guess I would put it.
I think now it's better. I mean, there's not really that much paper industry in Maine. Most of the timber is cut now from Canadian companies. They
Hmm.
come into Maine and they take the timber and they go to their mills. And I'm
Right.
not sure. I'm not sure how much they actually take. I'm not sure if they're if they selective cut or if they just wipe it out. I'm really not. But I've seen areas. I spent a lot of time in the North Country fishing and hiking, and I've seen areas of clear cuts that really disturbed me. And
Hmm.
probably that's the catalyst for what I said in the book about
Yeah. Yeah.
raping land. And
Especially how
I've
that.
gotten criticism for saying that already. I mean,
Oh, you
which
have. I was curious if you got
oh
any
sure,
reaction to
oh
that.
sure, I've got reaction on that. Overwhelmingly, the reaction on the book is good, but some people have come back and said, that I was being a little harsh with that. But
Hmm.
it's a book, it's a novel, it's fiction,
Hmm.
and I was just going on what I'd seen with my own eyes.
I'm also curious because you delve quite a bit into rural law enforcement here, and
Mhm.
which is markedly different from more urban law
It
enforcement,
sure is.
especially when it comes to officers pretty much being on their own in situations where
Yep.
they could really use some help. Uh,
Right.
and of course, Seth is the protagonist here and the kind of, I think, the central character. But you have a lot of other police coming and going, including his boss, the corrupt sheriff, and the state troopers. And what kind of did you get any feedback on from law enforcement on this?
Not at all. Not at all. Not yet.
Mm-hmm.
No, no, not at all.
Because
Um,
there's a lot of bang bang shoot 'em up here.
it sure is. Well, they were in trouble. I had to do something.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Uh, let's talk about asteroids, okay? Because I remember recently somebody telling me that they had a piece of, I guess this is very common. They had a meteorite, a chunk of a meteor in their basement in a display case because someone had been out hiking and found it and investigated it. And sure enough, I guess this stuff rains down on us all the time. And it's not uncommon to find pieces of it. An asteroid, on the other hand, is a whole different animal. And I'm wondering what you knew going into this about asteroids, or did you have to
I
educate
lost you
yourself
there
on
for
this?
I lost you there for a few minutes. I don't know
Oh, I'm
what happened.
sorry.
You said,
I'm wondering if you had to educate yourself on asteroids
yes,
before writing about them.
yes, I did. And the asteroid thing is something that doesn't come into play until almost 2/3
Right.
into the book. And it's something I didn't want to bring it in earlier. So anybody who hasn't read that book yet, they're gonna say, "Oh no, that's about an asteroid."
Right. Well, this wasn't just any asteroid. I mean, this thing, it carved a 1,000-foot deep scar into the lake and ended at the point of what would be the arrow on
Right,
Arrowhead Lake. And
right.
but
Point of the
most
arrow,
significantly contained a lot of rare and exotic
exactly,
materials.
as most asteroids do.
Right.
I
And
know, I know a lot about them.
did you read research? Did you interview? How do you find out all about the
I
contents of an
research.
asteroid these
I
days?
research online, and yeah, I talk to people if they know what they're talking about it. But
Hmm.
mostly, I research online.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the characters here.
Okay.
I always like to ask an author, especially with a book that has such a big stage, in terms of the number of people playing an active role in it. Who's your favorite character in this book?
Oh, it has to be Seth Ferguson.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I love a lot of those characters too. I like
Mm.
Lily. I like the couple at the lake, and but I
Ben
think
and Peggy.
yeah, and there's a sequel called Moonfire, The Children in the Lake, book two,
Yes.
and Ferguson plays a much bigger role in that one from the beginning.
Who does?
Seth Ferguson.
Oh, Seth. Okay. Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I assume Rachel must come back at some point
yes,
from Connecticut because
yes,
I mean, as she left,
absolutely.
it seemed like she was destined to stay in this place.
You'll if you read the book, you'll be very surprised when she comes back and why.
Oh,
That's
interesting.
all I'm going to tell you.
Okay. Well, when you were writing this, did you know there would be a sequel?
Pretty much, yeah.
So you're
I didn't
keeping that
know.
in mind?
Oh yeah, always. I always keep that stuff. I mean, my 3-book Blue Light series.
Right.
Uh, I knew there would be more than 2 books in
Yeah.
that.
So you're always looking beyond the end, I would
Always,
think, and
yes,
setting things up for down the road.
exactly. Yep.
Uh, uh, I'm going to go to some of our audience questions here real quickly.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, this one audience member asks, in the book, 3 children go missing in Arrowhead Lake in 1925. Is there a true story that you were inspired by? And if not, what inspired your storytelling in this book?
No, there's no true story that inspired that. I just, I just thought it was interesting um, to use children in that way, to
Hmm.
immortal children.
Yeah.
No, there was no true story.
I couldn't figure out at times, how do I put this? Whether these children were happy, sad, uh, desperate to get some kind of to be freed from this. What's your take on uh, why they were there and how they, assuming these otherworldly beings have feelings, how they felt about being there?
If I tell you that, I'm going to have to kill you. That's, that's all explained in the second novel.
Oh, okay.
I left that any explanations about why they're there for the
And how they survived the boat crash back
right,
in 1925.
right.
Yeah.
If they in truth did survive the boat crash,
Ah, well, you're right.
they,
That's a good
they may
point. They're
not be
not.
mortal children.
Okay. Now, oh, here we go. Now we're going.
No, you're talking to a guy that writes supernatural thrillers.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
guess
everybody's
so.
taste.
I'm going to go to another audience question. This one deals with Chief Neptune, member of the Wabanaki
Yes,
Nation. And this person asks, how did the Wabanaki Nation and their connection to Maine influence your writing?
very much so. They're a very important part of Maine history.
Hmm.
I think they're an essential part of our history, and and I think they've been wronged um, for many, many years. And I think it's time, and I think it's starting to turn around. But I think it's time that they were uh, integrated and accepted into our societies as true equals. And I don't think they were. I don't think they have been. That's
Did you were exposed to that part of Maine culture during your childhood up there, up north?
not really. It's just I've learned all this through reading.
Hmm.
I've met some of those people, but I wasn't really exposed to them. No,
Okay.
not at all.
How did Chief Neptune get his name?
Well, actually, that's a true part of it. I mean, Chief Neptune. There was a Chief Neptune during the American Revolution that lived in Maine and had a tribe. So I kind of stole that.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah,
I
I
loved
loved,
him, by the
I
way.
loved the name Neptune.
He was a tough old bird, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Oh, he sure is.
I mean,
Yeah,
when was it was it Rachel and no, it was
Lily,
Yeah, Lily and Seth were out looking
his
for him,
daughter,
and
yeah, and
I was
Seth.
thinking as I read along, saying, "No way! There's no way this guy could still be alive." But then when they find him, and in the condition that he's in, and you explain it there, his survival instinct and technique, all of
Right.
a sudden it becomes quite plausible that he could have survived that
Yes.
couple of days out there in the middle of nowhere.
And you have to consider this that the asteroid is not a normal part of
Right.
that territory. And it's possible that you know, there's a lot out there that we probably don't understand.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I just take it and let my imagination run with it.
Hmm. Uh, Another audience member writes, the environment plays a key role in this book and how we as a society protect, but also use the natural resources around us. Why was this important to highlight in your book?
Because it's true. Because I feel that our environment is one of the most important things on planet Earth. If we don't take care of our environment, we we are part of that environment, and we harm ourselves if we harm animals and trees and all that stuff. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's interesting that you bring in this. I guess it would be mining is what these guys were after. They wanted to get down into
right,
that rock and
yeah,
start extracting things, and that's also emerged as a significant issue in northern Maine
it
lately.
is. Mining is, and they found some pretty rare minerals, I guess, in northern Maine.
Hmm.
I don't know what they're going to do with them. I don't know how that's going to work and play with the state, but
Yeah, yeah. No, but I shudder sometimes to think of
me
having
too.
traveled in other parts of the country where you have these big open pit mines and
Right.
just how
Yeah.
disastrous that can be
Yeah.
for an
And
entire region.
they'll take whatever they can if they can profit. And
Hmm. Right.
they'll buy politicians that will help them. That's just my opinion.
Hmm. Um, you mentioned, I'm just curious, you mentioned something in your background a little while ago that you were drafted during the Vietnam era.
I
Uh,
was.
were you deployed or were you stateside
Yeah.
during that?
Yeah, I was. I went to Korea
Hmm.
um, first. Um, I was in a helicopter company. And then from there I went to Vietnam for a stretch.
You did go to Vietnam?
I did, yes.
I'm just thinking, boy, for you're looking into your background for stories. Have you ever
Plenty
been
of that
tempted to
stuff.
write about that?
Not really.
Why not?
No, I want to leave that alone. There are too many other people that do well with that, or write well with it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Good stories. Nah, I never wanted to go there in a story.
Oh, okay.
But
Uh,
yet, some of my
yeah.
characters are war veterans, like Seth Ferguson.
Yes, and he's very typical, I think, of a lot of modern day vets, who
Mhm.
come back and are clearly scarred by their experience, but
Right,
find a way to channel that energy in a positive direction.
right.
We were going to have you read an excerpt if you could tonight. Do you have something selected that you might want to share with us?
Something from that book, or
Yes.
something else.
No, something from The Children in the Lake.
Oh, I'm, I'm not a very good steady reader. I write like hell, but all right. I need a bigger light. Let me see. Oh, let's see. Okay. I'll just open the book and read a little excerpt.
Okay.
Night is coming down, and since they haven't made their move, I believe they'll wait for dark. No doubt storms are coming, Ben said. I'll wager those guys aren't familiar with the microburst we get up here. And if we get them tonight, it'll be a mess. It'll confuse them and they won't know what to do. We should just wait and take them out in all the confusion. Might be harder than you think, Seth said. They're well armed operatives. You're not fighting these guys, Ben, Peggy said. I will if I have to, Ben said crossly. They're not taking my place. We have too much to lose. It's just property, Rachel said. It's not worth your lives. There's a lot you don't know, Rachel, Ben said. He glanced over at his wife. This place is worth every second of the lives Becky and I have been given these past 20 years. I won't give it up easily. Peggy gave Ben a warm hug. Ben's right, Rachel. I just don't want you or those two beautiful boys to get hurt. I don't want anybody to get hurt.
Hmm.
Want me to go on?
No, that's fine. That's great.
Yeah.
Uh, I want to talk to you about Ben and Peggy too, because these are people who I always find that there's a bit of a dichotomy here between someone like Ben and Peggy who treasure this land and it's our land. It's that they
Right.
own it, and then they're in the middle of a indigenous culture in which the land owns us. I mean,
Right.
land ownership is not in their frame of reference so much. Uh,
Right. It belonged to the natives until white men came and
right. Although
took it
they didn't
away.
look at it that way.
Right.
It wasn't a question of, I own from here to here. Uh, it was much more organic than that. Uh, Yet Chief Neptune and Lily, they come to be very respectful of Ben and
Yeah.
Peggy for what they're trying to do. So
Yes.
talk to us about, those two worlds coming together in this book in a way that doesn't always happen.
Right. Well, Ben and Peggy want to. They want to. They want to preserve what they have. They want to preserve those acres, 250 or whatever it is.
Hmm.
They don't want it to be ruined. And of course, neither do the Indians, the Native Americans. They don't want their land to be destroyed either. As it says in the book, and we've been there. We've been there. We've dammed the rivers, and the salmon
Hmm.
stopped coming. And in the 20th and 21st century, it's probably not that big a deal because we can go to the store and buy food. But back before all that, we couldn't. The Native Americans couldn't. They couldn't go to the store and buy food. They needed to get their food and everything they used for their daily lives from nature. And so white man came in and kind of didn't destroy it, but it took away a lot
Mm-hmm.
from the natives. And I'm sure that a lot of Native Americans will agree with me on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh, another little detail I wanted to ask you about
Sure.
the Jenkins thugs, the guys that are living
Yeah,
right at the lodge. They're all Irishmen.
right.
Why?
Well,
I'm Irish, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, why do these guys have to be Irish? They're such
because
pigs.
they were illegals and they were easy.
They were
Um,
what?
they were easy. They were
Oh,
illegal
okay.
aliens that they hired directly from Ireland uh, because they didn't have papers, they didn't have a history here, and they were easy people to use as muscle.
Mm-hmm.
But they
And
seem to know.
where did Jenkins come from? I mean, he's this huge guy, and he's got obviously has a past, but
Right.
it's like he's the king of his own world.
Yeah, but he works for the man though. He works for the corporations.
Hmm.
He's a lawyer. He's a facilitator, and he's the kind of guy that is he whoever pays him the most, he'll do whatever has to be done. And we know a lot of people like that in our lives. We've all known people like that. They're out
Hmm.
there. So that's what he is. He's a facilitator.
Yeah, you made me think of one guy I mentioned earlier, my grandparents' lake up in Wisconsin. I'm not going to mention the guy's name. I'm sure he's long gone, but it was you described Jenkins. In describing Jenkins, you described this guy to a T. He was very large, like
Yeah,
hugely large. I don't
yeah,
know how he could get in and out of a boat, frankly. And he
right.
had the biggest, fastest boat on the lake. And he would just cruise around with his sons around the lake, creating ridiculous wakes, knocking over water skiers, you
Right.
name it. I mean, it was just
Sure.
and as soon as you introduced Jenkins in this story, I saw this
You
guy,
thought of
and
him, right?
I guess there's one on every lake.
Yeah, yeah, there is. It's one on every lake.
Yeah, really.
I don't know where he came from. He just popped into my imagination, and I knew we needed someone. And I think everybody has to be unique. That's
Mhm.
my take on
You mentioned your wife. Do you do you read your stuff to her, or does
it.
she read it herself? How does that work? I know
Not
that
only that,
whenever I
not
wrote
only
a
that,
newspaper column, I would
yes.
always read it to my wife out loud, not just so she could hear it, but so I could hear it too as I read it. And she was invaluable that way.
When not only does she read it, she edits for me. She's
Oh.
an editor,
Mhm.
and she's my editor. She's my partner, and we've been doing this together for many, many years.
Does she write as well?
Oh, yeah, she does. She's a good short story writer.
Mhm. No. So you're both writing at the same time, huh?
Well, not at the same
Mhm.
time. I do a lot more writing than Sheila does,
I
but
see.
but she's invaluable to my writing because she tells me when you know, I need to get my head on straight.
Which is when you're writing about the supernatural, how do you know? How do
You
you
don't,
know when it's
you
getting
don't
away from
know.
you?
But I'm not the only supernatural writer in Maine.
That's true. That's true. But as I said at the outset, it takes a real type of imagination to go there because there's a fine line between, I suppose, between the supernatural and the ridiculous. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
And how do you stay on the right side of that?
Yeah, because it has to be believable.
Hmm.
There's a lot of ridiculous stuff that's not believable. You can see the movies. It's
Yeah,
just
right, right.
they go overboard. And I have a lot of friends who write that stuff that's really on the edge, frightening things. And
Hmm.
Stephen King is one of them. I mean, he writes beautiful prose, but he can also be, um, he frightens people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because this is a very violent book. There's no question about it. But I wouldn't necessarily say it's gory.
Oh, it's not. No, I don't think
It's
so.
not. It's not like there's not an overt fascination with the blood and the guts and all that
No,
stuff. But
no, and it
but
never
it's
will be in my books
why is that?
because I don't think it's necessary.
Hmm.
If I wanted to be a horror writer, then I would go overboard with it, but I don't. I just like supernatural stories.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
of course there are, you know, sometimes there have to be not blood and
Yeah,
guts.
and as I said, there's a lot of there's a lot of shooting. There's a lot of
Yeah,
firepower in this
there is
story,
in that one.
and
Yeah.
people who
And
are
the
more than
second one
willing to
even
use
more.
it. Yeah, uh, and you're not going to give us any clues on the sequel, huh? Because now you got my curiosity up. I want to know what happens.
Well,
I'll buy the book. Don't worry.
you well, it's a longer book than The Children in the Lake. Um, a a woman from Seth Perkins' past comes back into his life.
Oh, is this as if he doesn't have enough women to worry about?
Right, right, exactly. And there's more shooting. There's more supernatural stuff. And I can't get too. I don't want to delve too deeply into
Sure,
it.
sure.
I don't
Mhm.
want to do spoilers.
I
Um,
assume Seth becomes sheriff. Is that a safe assumption?
he does, yes,
Okay, yeah,
he does
because
become a
that was
sheriff.
all but handed to him at
He's
the
the
end of the book.
boss, right? And
Yeah,
it's great. He's and members of this Brotherhood of the Order come back into it. Now that's a mysterious organization that I wrote about in my Blue Light series as well. The
yes.
organization
Mhm.
permeates a lot of my writing.
Okay.
Uh,
Hmm.
they're
I just got a question from somebody listening tonight. Deborah Gill asks, Mark, do you base your characters off of real people?
some of them
People in your life, or just
real people. No, not necessarily people in my life. No,
okay?
but I do
But
base them off real people. Thank you, Deb.
but specific people, I guess, is the better way to put it.
Specific? No, no, no.
Oh, okay.
I try to make them up.
Oh, because there are times when that can get you into trouble.
Sure can.
If you start
And even if
character
I did, I wouldn't
character
admit it.
people having caricatures of people in your real life in your books.
No, no, never. I would never do that.
Oh, okay, okay. Uh, you've written how many books so far? 20? Is that?
Yeah, 20 plus.
And uh, how many do you expect to produce? Is this something that you don't? I'm sure you don't see an end to this road at this point. You're
Well,
not that
no,
old.
well, no, but I'm no spring chicken, that's for sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm going to do more. I'm working on new stuff all the time. I've got 4 or 5 different manuscripts going right now.
Really? How do you keep them all straight?
I work on one in one day, and then I'll go and jump onto another one, take a break from the last one, and that's the way I work. That's how I do it.
They don't congeal on you into you don't
No,
get things mixed
well,
together.
maybe. Well, there are some crossover stuff, so maybe
Mm.
I don't know. I just wing it. I play it by ear. I
I'd
sit
have
down.
tried, with the supernatural stuff. One story is enough to keep me awake at night. I can't imagine having 4 or 5 going on in my head at the same time. Do
And
you
that
believe? Let me ask you something about the supernatural. Do you believe in ghosts?
um, I believe there are things out there that we don't understand. Uh, call them ghosts. apparitions. My grandmother certainly believed in that stuff.
Mhm. I'm talking about things that have to do specifically, or entities or beings that are specifically connected to people who have lived on this earth in the past. Do you think those spirits come back?
It's still open for discussion in my mind. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I think there's a lot of mystery out there with human beings, with our planet, with everything. And I think anything's possible.
Mhm.
That's what I think. Anything's possible.
Yeah, it's who was it? Was it Donald Rumsfeld or someone who once said, "We know what we know, and we don't know what we don't know, but we don't know what we don't know," or something.
Exactly.
I probably
Right.
butchered that quote, but it's
Right.
something to that effect, and that we have such uh,
Exactly.
you have this gut feeling that we have so little real true understanding, not only of our world, but the universe at large and everything.
It's a
It's
mystery.
staggering, which
I
is
mean,
probably great fodder for someone like you.
it is. There are millions of human theories about millions of things. And I just like the idea that it's all out there and that I can, grab it and use things in my fiction. And as far as the way I believe personally, I just kind of keep that to myself.
Hmm. Yeah. One other question about you. Do you swim?
No, I'm not much of a swimmer.
Not,
No, I
not
don't
for
want to be
fear of
one of
going
those
into
children.
water over your head, right?
I do go out and yeah, I do go out and swim. Sheila, my wife, she's a mermaid.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a mermaid. She really is.
Well, ever since the whole shark thing started, with the great white sharks migrating northward, I
Right.
used to live in the ocean.
Did you?
And now I will swim in it, but I cannot go swimming in the ocean without at some point
Thinking about
hearing
those.
that oft repeated line that a
Right.
shark can attack you in knee deep
Right.
water, this, and it changes the whole experience
Right.
completely.
Right. I have done, I have been in the ocean many times. We used to live on the beach. So, ocean was part of it. And
Yeah,
I love fresh water. I love lakes and streams and that sort of thing over and above the ocean personally.
right.
But yeah, I swim, I guess, but not like some people swim. I get in there,
Yeah.
get wet and paddle around.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, listen, this has been great, and now I have another book to read because I want to see what happens to all these people, especially the mystery of these kids, because that was the one thing I came away from the book really wanting to know more. How
Right.
do I put it? Wanting to get to know them
Yeah.
a little
Well,
better.
this will help. The next book will
Okay.
help. But then you're still not going to know them totally
Right.
because there will be more coming. There's
Oh, okay.
something else in the works.
And is this you have book one on the cover of this? How many are in this series do you envision? Is it just two or is it going to be more?
Um, well, there's two for now,
Two
but
for now, right?
probably yes. There's going to be a third one because I've already begun it.
Oh my.
Yeah.
How do you know when it's over? When a series is over?
His wife hits him over the head.
Did you hear that? My wife said.
No.
My wife said his wife hits him over their head.
It's back to reality time,
Yeah, right, exactly.
huh?
No, there's going to be at least one more.
Oh, okay, good. Well, we'll look forward to that. And
Yeah.
I want to thank you for joining us tonight, and
Thank you for having me.
wish you luck as you keep churning these things out and
Thank you.
scaring the pants off of some of us. But I guess that's part of the point.
What I do. Really,
Well,
thank you for having me. I really
thank you
enjoyed
again,
it.
Mark. We really appreciate you coming
All
on
right, Bill.
tonight.
I appreciate it.
Okay. And I also want to thank everybody else, as usual, for joining us tonight. A final shout out to Sherman's Maine Coast Bookshops, the Park Danforth, and Coffee by Design for sponsoring tonight's event. finally, this is the last gathering of our book club this year, and I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us in 2025 and making all this happen. I have to say, month after month, your comments, your questions have made my job a lot easier. And your numbers demonstrate, once again, the richness of Maine's literature, not just in writers, but in enthusiastic readers. If you have recommendations for books you'd like to talk about in 2026, please email them to Sophie Wood at swood, SWOOD, at mainepublic.org. That's it. Have a great fall and have a great winter, and we'll see everybody in the spring. Good night, everybody.